So I want to tell you about my double split.
Yeah, it looks like an amazing piece of track work engineering.
Well, so it's been laid on a printout which was generated by using a bit of software called Templot, which gave me the geometry.
And that presumably was the easy bit.
Relatively, actually working out the geometry of the entire what do you call it, ladder of points through the goods yard was actually more difficult than I had envisaged. But eventually I worked out what the gradient on the V's needed to be to get it right.
Yeah.
So you then lay sleepers that have been cut to length on top of the template.
And are those just straight timber, or are
They're
they
just wooden.
not copper clad?
No, wood. Pure wood. And having done that, the next thing I did was to engineer the V's. So the V's are handmade. Wow. And you lay those first, and then everything else is built around them.
At the V as far as there, or further back?
Yeah, no, as far as they were originally a bit longer, but then I trimmed them to length.
Yeah.
But the rail is held in by plastic chairs, so it's C&L track work, but there are certain areas of the double slip where it's not possible to use the chairs and you need to solder the track in place.
So how's that check rail?
So in various critical places, such as these 4 sleepers for the frog, the first thing that I do is I lay some very thin nickel silver strip cut to length underneath where the rail's going to be, and that's super glued to the sleepers.
Yep.
And then I can solder the V and the other elements of the point to the metal, and then the chairs are cut so that they can be glued down as dummy chairs either side of the strip of metal.
That means the solder must be very neat if you're going to get. Oh yes, you
most
tinned it all first and just heat it.
Well, no, I've plenty of flux and a very hot soldering iron with a clean tip, and carefully positioned solder on the tip of the soldering iron. I don't always get it right. Sometimes I have to grind it away or cut it away with a scalpel afterwards, the surplus solder. But most of the time I get it clean. I tin I tin the metal, but I don't tin the rail. I let the flux transfer the solder onto the rail. And it's really just a case of being very, very meticulous about checking the geometry as you go. So for instance, all the rails in that line will have been checked and double checked with a straight edge as I laid them, so that I could be confident they were perfectly straight.
Wow.
These outer rails are reasonably easy to lay because they're just one solid length, and the template gives you an idea of the radius, so they go down quite easily. But things like check rails and then the middle of the double slip here, that's continuously being checked with gauges and straight edges and tweaked till it's in absolutely the right position.
Right.
And the acid test eventually is to run something through it, but that's the very last thing you do.
Right. But you've rolled something through it and it...
and despite my major concerns that it wouldn't, So far, there's very little attempt by anything to take the wrong route through this part of the double slip. If you get this wrong, there's always a danger that a wheel will, instead of going the direction it should, it'll actually go round the corner and go the wrong way through the slip. But so far, everything seems to want to go the way it's supposed to go.
It's looking good.
Yeah.
And tell me again what you're going to ballast it with.
We're ballasting it with ash that has been sourced from the North York Moors.
I'm going to have a look at that. Yeah.
And we are very fortunate that this ash has been crushed and graded by Exeter University in their mining department. They have specialist equipment for preparing minerals, and they very kindly agreed to crush our ash for us.
Right, can't wait to see that later.
Yeah. It's
going to look
sadly we had to go all the way to Falmouth, which is where their equipment is. But other than that minor hiccup, we've now got a bucket full
I'm sure some
ballast.
poor member of the club volunteered to go and do that then.
Yeah.
So, okay.
You always find somebody to do it.
Yes.
And if you don't, you do it yourself.
Yes. It used to be Flemisburgh, and it was a nice O-gauge layout. But what's happened to it?
We've put a 4-foot extension on each side, obviously, and we're changing it to a kind of a double main line running.
Yeah.
Fully standard gauge. No
Okay,
gauge.
so you've not got the...
No gauge.
That was the, whatever it was, 16mm.
Urban setting rather than the country setting it was in before.
Right, but still American.
Still American, yeah.
Still Louisville and Nashville.
A big cut out here where there's going to be
Oh,
a river.
right.
Bridges going across.
And we're just trying to work out the track plan really, so it's just working through.
Oh, right, what are you using for your track planning?
Coral draw. Coral draw.
Coral draw. So have you designed the sort of points and geometry yourself then? Or is it somebody else?
Off the Pico website, PDFs. PDFs
Really?
Of the Pico website, yeah.
All right, okay. So what you're using is like PDFs of track bits.
Yeah,
and
yeah. So
sticking them
each
together in
point,
Coral draw.
So you've got the number 6 ones, number 8s, number 10s.
Yeah.
From Pico, the
Yeah.
American ones. You can just download them straight off their website.
Yeah.
And then scale to the correct scale. So these are all HO ones, but they're bumped up to get the right size for the track work.
Okay.
And then it's all drawn to the right size.
I forget. You have people with skills who know about drawing, drafting and things like that. Amongst this group.
Sort of stuff. So, yeah.
A multi-skilled
And then
club.
it's just putting the points where you think it is and going from there. So we've got a few different plans that we've messed around with and different ways of getting the same sort of effect, and I think we're probably going to go with the top one.
All right. Okay. Yeah. You can see what it's doing. And the colours you've put in there are buildings and...
Yeah, orange for buildings, grey for roads, blue for water.
Right.
So it's just a rough outline, but it gives you a better idea of what's going on rather than trying to figure it out from mind.
Excellent.
So the plan that's on here is an old one, but it gave us a good starting off point of where we were going to go with it. And a couple of weeks ago, we just sort of messed around and thought, well, put that star here, maybe we could do that, change that. So we got to that.
Good.